I want to spend a minute talking about setting and accomplishing goals. There's two different things to keep in mind when you are working towards a goal. The fact that you have lead measures and lag measures. Lag measures are hard to influence because by the time that you measure them or look at them, the results are already in. There's nothing that you can do about that anymore other than to learn from it. Lead measures are different because it's the behavior or the action that's leading to the result, which is why it's called a lead measure. There are things that you can measure along the way as you head towards a result or towards a goal, and those are able to be influenced. You can look at those, you can measure those and say, do I need to tweak or do I need to adjust? Lag measures are the results. Did you hit your goal or not? Lead measures are the behaviors and the actions that you need to take in order to accomplish your goal. So I'll give you an example, and this might apply in business or ministry or in any different arena. And obviously, you have to remember that principles don't ever change. And so you can take the same principles and you can apply them across a lot of different arenas. And the principle, again, lead versus lag measure. And so here's the example. If I am a salesperson and I'm selling a product and I need to get 100 customers to buy this product by the end of the month, then I need to ask myself, what behaviors and actions do I need to take that I believe will get me the results of closing 100 customers at the end of the month? If I have a 25% closing rate, how many customers do I need to, or potential customers do I need to talk to in order to get 100 people sold? Going back to our basic math, right? So if I need to get 100 and I have a closing rate of 25, then that means I need to talk to 400 people. I close 25% of that, I'm gonna get to my 100 sales made by the end of the month. If my closing rate is 50%, then I need to talk to 200 people in order to get to 100 sales at the end of the month. Might be the same thing with your church. If you have a goal of bringing in 100 new members into your church by the end of the year, and you know that in order to have 100 new members in your church, you need to have 300 people visit your church. That would be about a 30% closing or retention rate. You're going to retain 30% of the people that come through the doors of your church will be retained as members. Then that means you have to get 300 people through the doors of your church to show up for a service, to come check out your church and see if it's something that they want to be a part of. And then you can take that a step back even further and say, okay, if I need to get 300 people through the doors, then how many people do I need to invite? Maybe for every 10 people I invite, one will show up. And so that means that I need to invite 3,000 people in order to have 300 come through the doors. And then that will result in me getting 100 new members in my church. And the great thing about lead measures is that it's an idea. I have an idea that I have this 30% closing rate. I have an idea that I need to invite 10 times, 10 people to have one show up. But the lead measure means that I get to measure this all along the way. Let's say I set this goal, I set these measurements on January 1st, and my goal is by December 31st, I want to see how many people have come to my church, or I want to see how many customers I've sold. Well, now I start tracking those lead measures. I know that my behavior is I have to invite people to church. My behavior is I need to talk to X amount of prospects. I need to be in so many conversations. And so as I start tracking it, I say, okay, I'm in 10 conversations this last week, and I actually had 2 people show up to my church. Or I was in 10 conversations with customers and I closed 5 of them. Well, I thought that my closing rate was 25%, or my invitation to showing up to a service rate was 10%, but the reality is it's actually 50%. Well, now I'm going to track that again. Week 2, I do the same thing. I talk to 10 potential customers. I close 5 of them they buy my product. I talk to 10 potential people in a neighborhood and 5 of them show up to my church service. Then I can say my rate of closure or bringing somebody from step 1 into step 2 is 50%. So now I can adjust and say, if I'm going to hit my goal of having 100 new customers by the end of the year, 100 new people cross the threshold in my church, or 100 new members by the end of the year, I can adjust what my lead measure needs to be. I can say, I don't need to talk to 10 people a week. I need to talk to 2 people a week. And so now I can use that time for something else. But you keep tracking it. You may get 2 or 3 or 4 months in, and you may find your percentage goes down. So you ramp it up. But the lead measures allow you to continue to adjust all through the year, all through your month, all through the quarter, and then you can see, how am I actually doing? You can predict whether or not you're going to hit your goal. Your goal at that point is in your control. It's not just, I hope I'll hit this, because hope is not a strategy. You need to make sure that you know what behaviors and what actions you need to take to get to the goal that you want to accomplish. So then at the end of the year, at the end of the month, there's no excuses. Did you do the behavior or not? And did you track the results along the way to know if the behaviors that you were doing were really leveraging you to be able to accomplish your result?